All right, so today I want to talk about direct and inverse variation. Direct and inverse variation. The definition is as follows. We say y varies directly as f of x. F of x is my favorite function. In case, what that means is y is equal to k times f of x, where k is some real number. K is a constant and it doesn't change. In fact, k is called the variation constant. And oftentimes, k must be solved for given particular information on a certain problem. Now, one should note that f of x can be any function you want. Okay, so y varies directly with f of x means y equals k times f of x. Okay, y varies inversely with f of x means y is equal to k divided by f of x, where again, k is called our variation constant and must be solved for. So essentially, in this section 5.8, all we have to do is take a word problem that's either varies directly or varies inversely, translate it to an equation, and after that, use the information to either solve for the constant k or find other values for the problem. So let's look at a particular example. Okay, so here's one example. They tell us y varies directly as the cube of x. Okay, so what does that mean? Remember, varies directly means y is equal to k times, and then what's my function? The cube of x. So y is equal to k times x cubed. That's the way this expression is translated into an equation. Now, they go on to tell me, they give us what's called initial conditions. They say when x is 3, y has a value of 5. Now, those initial conditions, in fact, allow us to solve for the constant k. Okay, so the initial conditions, when x is 3, y is 5, I take my equation, y is equal to k times x cubed, and I plug in x to be 3 and y to be 5. That gives me the following. 5 is k times 3 cubed. Well, 3 cubed, of course, is 27, so we get 5 equals 27k, or dividing both sides by 27, k is 5 divided by 27. So there you go. That has allowed us to solve for the constant k, the variation constant. So now let's go up to our original equation, y is equal to kx cubed, and instead of k, we replace it with 5 over 27. That gives us our proportionality equation. Now, this problem goes on to say, find y when x is 4. Well, how do we do that? Well, the answer is, now we've got our new equation, and we simply plug in 4 for x. So we get y is 5 over 27 times 4 cubed. 4 cubed is going to be 64, and 5 times 64 is 320. So we end up with y is 320 over 27. Okay, so that gives us an example of how we can solve for the constant k and how we can find other pieces of information from the original problem. Now let's do an inversely proportionate. So suppose y varies inversely with x. What does that mean? Well, varies inversely means y is equal to k divided by x. So I write down that equation, y is equal to k divided by x. Now the initial conditions tell us that when x is 3, y is 2. So I could take that equation, plug in y is 2 and x is 3, and that gives me 2 equals k divided by 3. Well, if I just multiply both sides by 3, I get k must be 6. So k is 6. And my equation now becomes, plugging in 6 for k, y is 6 divided by x. All right, so there's our equation. It goes on to say, find y when x is 1. All right, so let's do that. Find y when x is 1. And I simply then take this equation and plug in x a value of 1, and what I get is y is 6 divided by 1, or simply 6. All right, so that has got varies directly and varies inversely. And I think I'll stop there.